to Deepa. You mentioned about the film Amar Akbar Anthony and various other medical wonders of the Indian film industry. Would it be worthwhile to have a medical expert appointed on the Central Board of Film Certification so that they absolutely ensure that in normal logical narrative films, such stupidities are not shown? I can understand fiction and science fiction and space research or anything mythological. But when the rest of the film is normal narrative, and suddenly the medical part is so ridiculous, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Should films be banned or edited on the basis of this?
Well, I'm one of those who actually doesn't believe in censorship. So my only answer to this is that maybe you're from the medical profession, so you feel that is the lag. Somebody from the legal will feel legal is the lag. There are hundreds and thousands of professions. And I think that is where the only censorship which makes sense is self-censorship. And organizations like what Vinta is trying here come in handy because there are hundreds of films with hundreds of misrepresentations. And even if your only God is not to change the society but the box office, today even for your own survival, you need to do that tightrope walking between fact and fiction. And for that, your research does become essential.
My question is to Sanjay Tripathi, sir. You were talking about Club 60, which is a wonderful film. And I just wanted to know that your bonding with Farooq Sheikh, ever you have felt like a superstar directing a star at that level?
फारूक साहब के बारे में जितना भी कहें कम है, but I think he was a legend actor, but also a very fine human being. And one association which I had with him was we both were great foodies, and we used to venture out and to various food joints. And I still remember he called me one day कि आज हम जरा नूर मोहम्मदी चलें, and we went to Noor Mohammadi Hotel and he rolled up his sleeves and we were having muttons and chickens. And one thing he told me which I always remember, कि Sanjay Saab, the film which we are making, we don't have item dances in it, we don't have big stars in it, we have taken just we actors. So you always remember that, you know, we have to be very particular about what we are saying, because सफ़ेद कपड़े पे दाग जल्दी नज़र आता है. So that is one thing which I always remember, and that is the great thing about this man, and it's a great legacy. That's all I can say.
I have a question. Actually, it's not really a question, it's a comment on the need and the role for specialists and people who might be technically not qualified but knowledgeable about a subject that is being represented. I think what we tend to ignore is the transformation of society itself. I happen to be a social expert. And just to talk about a story, I'm not talking about fiction here, but I'm talking about what might be documentary realism. And one book that comes to mind is Madhur Jaffrey's memoir, Under a Mango Tree. Now, in that book, she describes, I would say, the transformation of Delhi after 1947. It is quite wonderful to read about how India was gripped by what was a huge humanitarian crisis where hundreds and thousands of new immigrants, in fact, many millions of immigrants, spilled over across the border into a city like Delhi. We are not talking about village communities or lives as they existed during colonialism. We have an urban society today, largely urbanizing at a rate which is exponential. We have nuclear structure of families. So within that context, talking about reclaiming what is community, what is family, I think it is extremely contentious. So my question to the panel is that should we keep revisiting how wonderful life might have been where the whole family could be available to children?
I think for creators like us who are putting forth content which people are observing and analyzing all the time, it's not enough to be nostalgic about an era gone past or certain value systems which were in existence earlier, but which cannot be implemented or stay functional in the present context. So it's a tightrope walk for writers to keep the nostalgia bit where it is making sense, and also to be able to move on. I can give you the example of our show wherein our oldest character, and perhaps in many ways our most popular character, Dadisa, who was very different when we started the journey. She was an autocrat. She was the one who made things move. But over the course of several months, several years, she has become sensitized, a person of that generation. So I think if one chooses to tell a story like that, a story of even an older generation person who continues to retain what is so important for our children to retain also, and yet she has changed herself. So the idea is that there is a journey involved for everyone. There's evolution involved for everyone through the characters that we speak about in our story. So the media has a very big role to play, as in create a specific and a journey which is something that people feel elevated about when they watch. Cutting across rural, urban, young, old, all the barriers, and tell an elevating story. So I think that's where the media can get in, and of course, along with the elevated storytelling, what we also need is accuracy, which sometimes, as creators, we face this battle all the time, because something which is fact is sometimes boring, it is documentary, it is not enough, it's not interesting enough. But how we weave that, how we stay true to our facts and not mislead the audiences for whom we are writing and projecting our content, and at the same time give a message which is progressive. I think that's the challenge all of us face, and that's something we are all helped when we discuss at a forum like this.